Good morning. It's June 15th, breezy and warm this morning. Normally on Mondays I just kind of walk along my usual walk along the creek, but I didn't do that yesterday, so I'm going to do it today. For some reason there's a lot of heavy equipment moving around. Oh, well that would be why. Road closed just down here. It was closed in this direction yesterday. They were doing something on a sewer line, so I presume that's what they're doing up here. Something similar. Well, we're not going that way. We're going this way, where there's also lots of heavy equipment for some reason. Not exactly a peaceful morning around here. It's quite breezy too, so there may be some wind noise today. It's June 15th. That's halfway through the month. See, I can do math. I don't know what they're doing down here either. Possibly making it hard to drive around the neighborhood if I have to go anywhere. One of the classic sounds of summer. Heavy equipment backing up. So that road's closed. And Angus Crescent is closed too. One block up. Great. I'm headed to the footbridge. Tomorrow I'll probably drive somewhere on the way out to the club and stop and walk in a different area. But today will be old familiar haunts, to me anyway, maybe not to you. Oh. Somehow that curb was further down than I thought it was. There's the breeze. It's supposed to be pretty warm today. It's supposed to go to 32 Celsius. But also supposed to rain tonight, so it's probably cooling off again. That's probably why it's going to rain. Haven't really looked, but that's usually the way it works. As long as it doesn't rain like it did on Friday when we had so much flooding. Kids off to school still. They're not quite done. Cloud of dust when that car went around the corner. I hate that with wearing contacts. But I didn't get anything this time. I'll go up on the dike at the end of this street today. Past that tree that was so beautifully in bloom not that long ago, and now it's just a tree. A wind-blown tree. Dead end ahead. Once I get back to the Tangled Stars, I also have a kind of a recurring non-fiction thing that I do on Tuesdays to do later on today as well. The other thing I've been doing is, oh, squirrel. I don't know what he's got there, but he was determined to take it with him, even though I was coming. Oh, Urban Builders, that's our contractor that will be doing our deck later this summer. And that's one of the other things I've been working on. You have to have a drawing of the site. So we know the dimensions of the lot more or less, and then we know the size of the house. We had to measure a few other things. We're mainly concerned that there's enough room between the house and the garage, and I think we're fine, but had to do it anyway. So far nobody's checked in, but if you're on Facebook or YouTube, let me know you're there. I will say hi. Getting some wind noise, I'll bet. I'm certainly getting it. And I got dust in my eyes, as I figured I would. Morning. And there's the unstable internet, which I also suspected, because I'm pretty sure it's the leaves that have made the difference along here. You walk through those leafy tunnels and get a little glitching sometimes. Here's the good old bridge. To stop for the traditional look up the creek. Okay, yeah, that's up the creek. And this is down the creek because it flows in this direction from out of the lake. And we're off on the traditional Monday morning creek walk, except it's Tuesday. I'm still hoping to finish the Tangled Stars first draft this week. It's at 107,000 words. I think it's going to go about 125 on the first draft, and probably longer on the rewrite, because this has been one of those stories where I've figured out what it's about to a certain extent while I'm writing it. And so as I go through it again, I have to make sure that I reinforce that throughout. The City Born was like that too, which was 3 books ago now. A dog. You can see the wind, how windy it is by how ruffled the water is on the creek. Now, I've seen somebody walk down closer to the water. There's a path somewhere down there that starts along here somewhere. Certainly not along here. That's pretty steep, and it would dump you straight into the water. But I know I saw somebody walking down there. Maybe they never came back. You could sort of go down in there. Is this where they were? There's a bit of a path. Oh, yeah, here we go. Well, I've never walked down here. And I immediately got a bad internet connection when I came down here, so maybe not the best place from a live stream point of view. At least it's a little different. There's the creek, very close to us. Don't fall in. Does it keep going? Oh, it does. All right. Well, we'll keep following it, even though I'm not getting a good connection, but nobody seems to be watching live anyway, so. Oh, well, it opens up quite a bit up here. Oof. Very uneven ground. Now it's really like being in the country. How far can we do this? Do I have to duck? Yes, slightly. So that's how close we are to the creek. Internet connection is still unstable. Better keep an eye on it. I could easily lose YouTube down in here. Walking in the jungle. So yes, very close to the creek here. See the wind. Somebody just the other side there. Danger, thin ice. Such an adventure. I've never walked down here before in my life. Always stayed on the path. Well, this is a path, but I've always stayed on the paved path. I suspect the live stream is not good right now. I haven't had a YouTube is down warning, but I've had the unstable internet constantly since I started this path. At some point, I hope it lets me back onto the path without having to push my way through the... Well, it could go there, but it keeps going. How far does it go? Just up here, I think. And it will take me out. Yes, there we go. Well, wasn't that exciting? Assuming you saw any of it. Well, you will if you're watching the replay. Anybody watching live, not that I know of anybody that's there, that might have been a bit glitchy. It still is. So I don't know if YouTube is running or not. If you're on YouTube, let me know you're there. Or Facebook. It should clear up here once I'm get away from some of these leaves. the horseshoe pitch. We actually came by and saw somebody playing horseshoes a few days ago. It's the only time I've ever seen anybody on it. I don't know why it's still showing unstable internet connection now. Oh, there you go. Finally let up after I got out from all those leaves. Elphinstone again. Well, not again this time. First time this time. But I've crossed it many times in the past. This coming Sunday, of course, is Father's Day. We have a brunch booked. Plated brunch. Normally it'd be a buffet, but obviously buffets are kind of out right now. Out at the Wascana Country Club. We have this real birthday season thing that happens because we've got, let's see, Mother's Day, then my wife's birthday, then my daughter's birthday, then Father's Day, then my birthday, all in the space of about 3 months. So many gift giving opportunities and gift receiving opportunities. Oh, and then the cat's birthday's in August, so you know, got to celebrate that too. He'll be 9 this year. We know it's his birthday because he's a purebred, so we actually have papers. There's a fun old truck. All these people walking dogs. Hi.
Hi.
And there's more up here at the bridge, it looks like. Dogs. That is. I'm so glad I have a cat. I don't have to walk and scoop up my dog's leavings. I'd rather just walk. Just be a dog walker. He's got 3 of them. Footbridge, this footbridge, different footbridge than before. More dogs. And unstable internet too, so I don't know what's happening on YouTube. So if anybody's on YouTube, just let me know, because I wouldn't be surprised if it's gone down. It would be a relief to know that somebody is there and actually can see it. Same on Facebook. I haven't had the no sound problem on Facebook for a while, but I haven't changed anything. That's something to do with Facebook. We are in the park. I've been walking here since I started doing these. The path curves purely for aesthetic reasons. It's not like there's a pressing geographical need to go around a mountain or a hill. I enjoyed yesterday's walk, which took me down to the very southern edge of town. It made a great chance to show the prairie and show just how unnatural all of this nature is. Trees do not grow like this naturally in southern Saskatchewan. They have to be planted. The one exception is possibly along the creek, where of course seeds can come in from elsewhere and take root along the banks. So creeks will have willows typically growing along them and other brush. But all of the trees here in this park would have been planted at some point. So yesterday I got right down to the south side of town. I started along Gordon Road, which is quite far south, and went further south until I got to where I could go right out to the edge of town. I was able to show the road to Moose Jaw, which is a very Saskatchewan thing. Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I'll get over there someday and take a walk. It's got quite an interesting historical downtown. And it was part of my book, Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw. I should read it again before I go over there, if I do go over there. Actually, I did have a request on YouTube from someone who wanted me to go to Moose Jaw. In a friendly way, not like, why don't you go to Moose Jaw? But, hey, go walk at Moose Jaw. Have to get down to Weyburn, my old stomping grounds, walk down there someday too. It's about an hour drive from here though, so I kind of need another reason to go. Don't have family down there anymore. I do have friends. Used to go down all the time when my parents were still there, and then first my parents, and then it was just my mom for several years. I was down there quite frequently, but not so much anymore. I think the last time may have been 2016, which was our 40th high school reunion. And even then I only went down briefly because I was doing the Addams Family with Regina Lyric Musical Theatre, and the reunion was the same weekend as our show. I was playing Lurch. Pretty much the only thing I said. Cool makeup though. If you like being green. It's not easy being green. It's not easy being turned green anyway. It's even harder to get it off afterwards, but it was a fun show. Yeah, my stage appearances have really dwindled the past few years. When I first moved to Regina, I was doing 3 or 4 shows a year. I was always in rehearsal. I was also single, didn't have a daughter. It was shortly after we got married, the next year I think, that I got hired to be in on Golden Pond at Equity when Susan Furley was artistic director at Globe Theatre. Sorry, I said in Equity. That's when I got my Equity card. was for that production of On Golden Pond at Globe Theatre, which made me officially a professional. I've done a handful of professional shows, and every time I do anything, even an amateur show, I still have to get an equity contract worked out. And I get the little asterisk by my name in the program that says, appears courtesy of Canadian Actors Equity. Same thing when I direct shows too. But the last professional stage show I did now is already several years ago. I think it was Christmas Carol in Moose Jaw for Rhubarb Productions, which isn't there anymore. The show I wrote and directed, which you can see on my YouTube channel, The Music Shop. I had to have an equity contract for that as a director. Now, is this, yeah, dry. I'll bet you this was flooded on Friday during the rain or just after the rain. Just going to walk a little further up here just to stretch this out. There's supposed to be a mirror on that so that you can see if somebody's coming around the corner. It's the other side of Pasqua Street. Could walk down the creek on the other side, but it's just a road and grass. There's no path over there, so. Not going very far this way. I'll walk over here by the baseball diamond. I'll walk this way because I've walked that way before. Came by a few days ago and there were kids down here because this is where the schools keep their, I presume it's the Regina School Board, keeps these canoes, and the kids go canoeing on the creek as a phys ed kind of thing. I'll walk up here by these apartment buildings. I showed off several apartment buildings yesterday. I had a viewer from Germany that wanted to see what Regina apartment buildings look like. And she did find the video, which was cool. And so there's another apartment building. Now, personally, I would not choose an apartment with external stairs, especially because winter is not kind to those. And I don't know why they built them that way. There's some down in Weyburn too. It's had the same feeling. That's the Lou van there with the cars going by. There's a bit of a path I'm looking for. Here it is. So I'll take us on over to the right. Just came here to stretch this out a little bit so it's more like an hour walk instead of a 45-minute walk. Not that anybody seems to be watching live today. It's very unusual not to have anybody say hi, which again makes me wonder if the feed actually went down. So again, if you're on YouTube right now while this is live, let me know. Or on Facebook. Sometimes the live feed fails. And when that happens, I don't even know about it till I get home usually. Sometimes I catch a message on here when YouTube goes down. So we'll get on the sidewalk by the apartment buildings here. Nice and shady too. So again, good time to say hi. I can actually see the screen. I guess the outside, at least they have a roof over them to try to keep the snow off of them, but that wouldn't do a 100% job by any means. Now renting, if anybody needs an apartment building. Well, not a whole building, but at least an apartment. Question is, can I get out back here? I think there should be a lane over here I can go across, or I could go through there. I don't know, there's definitely a lane over here, so we'll go that way. This is the back of Saskatchewan Express. Back when this was it was already an unused school, but it wasn't Saskatchewan Express yet. I rehearsed a show in there, and this was still just a field back here. Ah yes, I remember it well. But now Sask Express has their offices and rehearsal space in there. And again, that's a group that, young people's performance group. They do training and musical theater and dance and all that, and they have a touring company that tours the province, usually in the summer, quite heavily. Goes to fairs and things like that. Not recently, of course. That's the front of the building, and then down at the end, where the gym, well, it was the gym. Now it's the theater space. They've done shows in there, usually at Christmas time. I've never performed in there, but I've been to a show there. Alrighty. We've turned the corner and are heading home. Apparently directly into the wind. Been a very lonely walk. Not a single hi from anybody on Facebook or YouTube. Usually there's at least one person. It's very green. I have a niece named Wendy, but it's not spelled that way. It's spelled W-E-N-D-I. She's an artist, Wendy Nordell. And actually, my one and only book of poetry, which is called I Tumble Through the Diamond Dust, she illustrated. You can get that from your Nicholsworth Press, or you can also get it from my online store, edwardwillettshop.com. But it was an interesting project because this would have been in 2016, maybe? 2017? Maybe even 2018. Anyway, Gerald Hill was the poet laureate of Saskatchewan at the time. And he did a challenge where every weekday, working day, 5 days a week in other words, during Poetry Month, which is April, he set out 2 lines chosen from published Saskatchewan poems by Saskatchewan poets, and to all the members of the Saskatchewan Writers Guild, and challenged us to write new poems, either responding to those lines or incorporating them. And much to my surprise, I wrote every day. I wrote a poem incorporating those 2 lines. So at the end of the month, I had 24 poems. Gerald picked 6 of them for a collection of the poems arising from that challenge called Line Dance, which was published by Fifth House, Verna Barkley's publishing company. But I went on to publish my own collection. The poems in Line Dance were edited by Gerald, and they're very good. The ones in my collection are closer to what I originally wrote. And I thought from the beginning that it'd be cool to have it illustrated, and so I kind of cast around and finally realized, I was being stupid, that I had an illustrator in the family. And so Wendy did the illustrations. They're wonderful. All the poems are science fiction or fantasy or horror, and they're really short stories in poetic form. They all tell stories, and each one has this wonderful line drawing from Wendy, who also did the covers. So look that up. You can get it on Amazon as well, and an ebook as well, complete with illustrations. It's called I Tumble Through the Diamond Dust, and it's published by Your Nicholsworth Publishing, ynwp.ca. This has been a non-paid advertisement for myself. It would be nice if people watched this and went out and bought my books. That's not really the purpose of these walks. Exercise and live streaming them just keeps me motivated. And it's, I've met people now from all over the world who watch this. But buying some books would also be cool. So I already walked along this path, obviously, but I'm doing it in the opposite direction, which makes it look different. Since apparently nobody's watching anyway, not that I'm better. Not going to cross the footbridge again, though. I'm going to turn left up here at the sign and go up by the Neil Ball Quill Center. And that way, go down the other side of the creek, at least for a little ways. I think the YouTube feed must have failed, so I'm not getting any live stream action. But them's the breaks. Could be wrong. Somebody could still pop up here towards the end, but at the moment, that's certainly the feeling I'm getting. That turtle hasn't moved. We will make a sharp left-hand hairpin turn. And go back up this way. I don't think I've walked along this little piece of sidewalk anyway, so makes a change. I'll cut through the grass here. Take around there. We just walk in the grass. How wet is it? Doesn't seem to be wet. Let's just walk through the grass this time to be different. Go around this side of the Neil Ball Quill Center here. Pick up the path on the other side. See the wind blowing the poplars. Poplars are very popular in Saskatchewan. They grow fast and they grow pretty big. That's the Neil Belkwell Center to the left. It has an art gallery and classrooms. A lot of art classes are taught there through the city and other things. I wonder if it still has the dark room. There used to be a dark room. I don't know if anybody still learns how to do film or not. I wonder if I still remember. I think I do. I did a lot of rolls of film when I was a newspaper reporter, photographer, as one would expect. Okay, almost back to Elphinstone. On the other side, we'll pick up the dike again, walk along the lake, not the lake, but the creek. Public art. It's missing its plaque, so I can't tell you what it's called. Ow! That tree just hit me with something. Felt like a nut or a twig or something hit me in the head. Once this car goes by, I can probably risk it. Sorry for the wind noise. I did try wearing putting the little wind sock thing on here, the little fuzzy ball, sometimes called a dead cat. There's some flowers still growing along here. You can smell these lilacs. Nice. But it didn't really seem to do any better than what I've got on it now, so I know it's not going to be good. Still, the lapel mic ought to be better than when it was on the other side of the microphone from me. Stay on the dike. I'll go down the next path I come to, which is just up here a little ways. It's all parkland over here too. I went by here once. Oh, there's somebody out there on a whatever you call that. Just pushed his way into the creek, into the bushes, rushes. It's disappeared entirely. All right, well, say goodbye to the creek and the dogs. We'll go down this way today. Maybe get out of the wind a little bit. Yes, that's better. Far less wind. Let's go down the alley here. I haven't walked along the alley before. There you get a good look at the dike. All for flood control, because this neighborhood flooded really badly in the 70s. I've seen the pictures. I wasn't living here then. I don't know if the dike was built up since then. I suspect it was. But I know, well, it certainly didn't flood over top of that dike from the pictures I saw. So I think there must not have been a dike then. I can only think that the YouTube stream went down without me noticing. And possibly Facebook is down or soundless. Because I usually get at least one hello, and there's been nothing today. So you're probably watching the replay. I hope you've enjoyed this walk along the creek. Now down into the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day to be neighbors. Won't you be mine? 3 houses down. It's the house I used to live in. No, 4 houses down, I guess. The one with the pointier roof there, but small. That's where I lived when I first moved to this neighborhood. 2617 Garnet Street. How long was I there? I moved to Regina in 88. I think I moved down here by 1990, so I wasn't up in the Northwest for more than a year or two. And then I was there until I got married. Hi. Which was in 97, so I probably lived there 6 or 7 years. Neighborhood's changed since then quite a bit. All these newer, boxier houses. They were all old houses still here when I lived down here. Oh, this will take us past the row house where they've torn the porticos off. Presumably to replace them and rebuild them, one hopes. I'm pretty sure this is a heritage property, so they'd have to restore it. See, there's 2 of them there that they've torn down the porticos. I presume because they were not doing well for some reason structurally. Oh. Holy cow. That tree has come right down. Let's go take a look. I wonder when that happened. You know, I went by here not that long ago and thought that tree was looking odd. It came down on somebody's roof over here. I don't know how much damage it did. That's a big chunk of tree. Well, eyewitness news. You saw it here first. I presume somebody has reported that to the city. And there's a smaller branch down here, but that looks like it might have been dragged from somewhere that it had fallen. So I don't know if that's from Friday's windstorm. If that's the tree, maybe that wasn't the alley I came down and thought there was a tree that was very, I thought looked precarious. I don't know if I commented on it. Anyway. So it didn't land on somebody's car. Years ago, we lost several feet off the top of one of the spruce trees in our front yard while we were away. We knew there'd been a big storm and we came back, and our first thought was everything looked fine, and then our neighbor said, "Look up." And we did. And we realized that one of our spruce was much shorter than it used to be. So I don't know, 12, 15 feet off the top had to come off and fallen, landed in our neighbor's yard. But again, fortunately, nothing was damaged. Or nobody was hurt. It didn't fall on the house where it would have done some damage. Well, one more block. Now the road closed. This is where they were getting set up when I walked by to begin with. So this is closed. And Angus was closed too up here around the corner. It still is. There's our familiar stop sign up there where I will stop. Well, it's been a very lonely walk as far as live interactions go. Nobody said hi. And again, I don't know if the feed is down or not. I'll find out in a few minutes. But if you watched the replay, I hope you enjoyed this walk along the creek. And I will be back tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, creeping in this petty pace from place to place to the last syllable of telephone battery life. The last erg, I guess. Last volt. Anyway, that's our quitting spot, so thanks for walking with me, and I'll be back tomorrow.